Are you thinking about buying a place in Florida? Is that something you consider? Well, recently, a lot of people have been asking me about this question. And I think because of the affordability crisis that we have here in Toronto and the GTA, a lot of you are considering buying property elsewhere. So Florida is definitely on people's list. So in this video, I'm going to cover off some of the things you should consider if you are thinking about buying property in Florida. And make sure you stay until the end because I'm going to cover off the number one thing that people are surprised about when it comes to buying property in Florida or anywhere else in the United States for that matter. So let's get to it. Hi everybody, my name is Connie Sarvananthan and I'm a real estate agent and investor here in Toronto and the GTA. And I love Florida. I loved going there as a kid. I still love going there now. And Florida has been the home to many Canadians, especially Canadians that go down for the winter. We call them snowbirds. And so a lot of Canadians have second homes in Florida. And so if you are considering buying a home in Florida, it could be your first home, it could be your second home. There's a couple of things that you need to know to make sure that you're prepared for that kind of purchase. So why is Florida so attractive? There's obviously some things that everybody knows about, but there's also some things that you probably don't know. Florida is definitely attractive for the weather. That's pretty obvious. But it's also very affordable when you compare it to Toronto. So if you take the median price, and when I say medium, that medium is exactly the middle. So 50% of the homes sold are above that price, 50% of the homes are below that price. I'm going to show you a list of properties and it's going to clearly show that the median price of Toronto is significantly higher than most of Florida. Florida ranges between 200,000 and 400,000 and Toronto is close to 900,000 for median price. So, and that's US dollars to US dollars. And so when you compare that, Florida offers a lot of value if you cannot afford to buy in Toronto. So what are the things that you need to consider if you are considering going to Florida and buying a property? Well, here are the top things that I would think about. First and foremost, and this is the one that always surprises everybody, is you need to figure out your financing because it's not as straightforward as you think. So first of all, you can pay cash, and cash is cash. So either you have it saved up or you're going to borrow it in Canada and just pay for cash down there. Whatever your choice is for cash, you could take a line of credit on your home here to buy a second home there. Whatever your choice is, you need to figure out if you're going to use cash. If you're not going to use cash, this is where the surprise comes in. Then you have to get a mortgage, and getting a mortgage in the US is not as straightforward as one would think. If you are going to get a mortgage with a US bank, you actually have to establish credit in the US for a US bank to give you a mortgage. So you may want to start getting a US credit card or a US bank account or something to start establishing credit if you want to use a US bank for your mortgage. Your other option, and probably an easier option for most of us, is to deal with a Canadian bank who has banking in the US. So TD and RBC both have US operations. And so if you are interested in getting a mortgage in the US, I would go to one of those institutions to find out what it would take to get a mortgage if you were to buy a property in Florida. So that's the first thing. You really need to understand your financing and make sure that you have your financing lined up so that when you're ready to buy, then you know exactly what you are dealing with. So what's next? The second thing you need to do is really understand some of the implications of being Canadian and buying in the US. So the first thing is the exchange rate, and the exchange rate fluctuates. So you just need to make sure that you're keeping an eye on the exchange rate when you're looking at properties, and you need to make sure that you're doing the calculations. I mean, if you convert Canadian cash to US and you have it sitting in US, that's pretty easy. But if you are planning on getting a mortgage or anything else, then you want to just make sure that you're keeping an eye on the exchange rate because it does fluctuate. The second thing you want to consider is time out of Canada. Canada has some restrictions on how much time you can be out of the country, and it can affect things like your provincial health coverage if you're out beyond the limitations. So make sure you check into that and make sure you understand exactly how long you could stay out of the country. The number is typically around 6 months, but I would check it because it's constantly changing and you just want to understand what that means. So those are the two things that, being Canadian, you want to make sure that you understand those as well. If you're finding value in this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out and it tells us what kind of content that you guys like to watch. Also, if you have any real estate needs or questions, feel free to call, text, email, or WhatsApp, or make an appointment directly with me in the link below. Next up, you want to just establish a budget and make sure that you put in all the fees and things that you may or may not know about when it comes to buying property in Florida. There's a whole list of fees. I would say the list of fees is actually not anything significant like what we're dealing with when it comes to land transfer tax, but they can be significant and they can change by city. So just make sure you have a full understanding of all the fees that would be involved when it comes to buying property in Florida. And it's not just a purchase price. There's going to be other things like title insurance and taxes and all kinds of other things. And nothing that is insurmountable or anything. It's pretty typical, but you just want to understand it so that you can consider that as part of your overall budget. And again, if it's something that you need help with, I certainly have resources that I can give you that can help you establish what those fees would be. So the next thing you have to decide when it comes to Florida is where in Florida. Florida is really diverse. And it's all kinds of housing and all kinds of different cities and what they offer. You have everything from inland cities like Orlando to, beaches to all kinds of stuff. And even in a place like, say, Miami, what you can buy in Miami varies from price to style to all kinds of different things. So you really need to understand where you want to live. And again, if you need guidance with that, I know realtors from all throughout Florida. I know realtors in every single part of Florida. So if there's an area that you're interested in Florida and you want to talk to somebody about it and understand it, then let me know because I definitely have people throughout Florida that are experts in Florida. But understanding where you want to move will be critical because that's going to have a snowball effect on things like what the fees are that you're going to pay, what your property taxes will be, things like that. Also, when you're considering the area you want to move into, you want to know that you can access it if you're planning to use it as a second home from Canada. So think about things like airport or driving. Make sure you Google to see how easy it is to get to. Some places are really easy to get to by flying if you're planning on flying. Some places are not. But if you're always planning on taking a car whenever you go, then it's not a big deal. So make sure you look into all those pieces while you're deciding where exactly you want to live. And then the final thing you want to do is you want to work with a local Florida realtor in the city that you want to buy in, because they really need to understand all the pieces and you really need to make sure that they understand that you are Canadian, that you are coming from Canada, and what the implications are for you buying there. There may be nothing, it might just be a secondary home and that's it. If there's other things you want to do with the property like Airbnb, things like that, you want to be working with somebody who's local, who understands the local rules, what you can and cannot do, all of those things. You also want to understand what you're dealing with as far as a home in a specific area. Maybe it has weather constraints that you want to know about. Maybe it has insurance that you want to know about because of different weather patterns. Whatever the case may be, you want to deal with a local realtor. Do not deal with a realtor that does not know the area that you are trying to live in, because it can be very specific to that area. And like I said, if anybody needs a recommendation for a realtor in Florida, I know tons of realtors throughout Florida and throughout the US actually. But my friends in Florida, I have a ton of them, and they know their different regions. And I certainly wouldn't recommend one realtor from one area to do another area of Florida. They have to work in the specific area that you're interested in order for me to recommend them. And quite honestly, I know so many, and I would do this regardless. If you are interested in an area, I would be recommending at least 2 realtors from that area, because that's what you want to do anytime you want to work with a realtor, is that you should be interviewing 2 to 3 to make sure it's a right fit and that you understand them, that you like them, that you trust them, because this is going to probably be the largest financial purchase of your life. So that's it. Thanks for watching. My name is Connie Sarvananthan. I'm a real estate agent and active investor here in Toronto and the GTA. If you have any real estate needs, whether it be here or anywhere else, give me a shout. I'm happy to help you out or recommend you to a great realtor in another city. You can call, text, email, WhatsApp, or even better, just make a direct appointment with me down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.